Number 9. Underwater Stonehenge. The real Stonehenge is a stone monument of questionable origin that can be found in England, but the underwater Stonehenge is a strange monument made of stone, obviously of questionable origin. In 2007, 2 scientists discovered the structure in Lake Michigan in the United States, and they were pretty shocked to do so. It was discovered by Mark Hawley, a professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern Michigan University College, and his colleague Brian Abbott. They were going over the lake with some sonar equipment searching for shipwrecks when they unexpectedly found the monument. It's been over a decade since the monument was found, and there's still no answers as to what it was, what it isn't, who built it, and when it was built. Researchers have been studying the monument, but the mysteries keep stacking up the more it's looked at. For example, on one of the stones that is part of the structure, there appears to be a drawing of a sort that features a mastodon. If it is real and can be verified, which it hasn't been yet, that would mean that this monument was made at least 10,000 years ago, or so they suspect. What's even more curious is that people have been sailing on Lake Michigan for hundreds of years, yet the monument was only recently discovered. Number 8. Bimini Road. Where did the famous lost city of Atlantis disappear to all those centuries ago? Some think it never existed at all, but others believe that it's out there somewhere. Could it be way out in the Bahamas? It's possible. You see, a road was discovered underwater in 1968, and people were convinced it once belonged to the ancient civilization that has been submerged. This road is located near North Bimini Island, 18 feet down, and is made of limestone blocks arranged in what appears to be a line. To us, this looks like waffles, but apparently citizens might have traveled along these mysterious stretches, which reach a half a mile. And it must have been a long, bumpy half a mile. Other speculation concluded that the road is actually a wall, or what used to be one. Eventually, experts gave the Bimini Road a proper analysis and reached a surprising yet sad conclusion. Turns out what seemed like the work of humans was in fact the result of erosion. Mother Nature didn't do a bad job either, we have to say. While the mystery is solved, it opens up yet more questions about the power of our Earth to shape itself in intriguing and strangely precise ways. Number 7. ROOPKUND Lake Skeletons. This next story is a long-running historical mystery. Even the setting is mysterious, high up on the Himalayan mountain of Thrissur in Uttarakhand state. If you made it here, you'd be 16,500 feet up, enough to make anyone lightheaded. And what makes it worse is the gruesome discovery that awaits you. Hundreds of skeletons frozen in time. The icy conditions have preserved some of the flesh, making things extra icky. Hang on a second, isn't this a video about underwater discoveries? That it is. You see, Thrissur Mountain is where you'll find ROOPKUND Lake. When the weather gets less chilly, the water level drops, and this is when the skeletons are revealed. These human remains, mostly made up of middle-aged adults plus some elderly people, were first recorded in 1942. As for how long they've been there, well, the jury is very much still out. It wasn't until 2019 that the results of a study was published showing some basic data on the skeleton's age. Intriguingly, they come from different time periods, a whole century in some cases. Carbon dating was used to establish the essentials. Another astonishing fact is that the bodies range in terms of background. So it's safe to assume that they are travelers from all over who, for whatever reason, met their end at ROOPKUND Lake. These findings also meant that previous ideas about this being a specific group of people from the 9th century went out the window, or at least over the edge of a mountain. It's possible some of them are Indian troops who launched a failed invasion of Tibet back in 1841. Did the harsh conditions prove to be their undoing? Did they go for a dip and caught a cold, or worse? Explanations such as an epidemic are kind of tough to swallow. It's a pretty weird coincidence they all happen to die here. Dead men and women famously tell no tales. It's unlikely we'll discover the truth of the ROOPKUND Lake skeletons. There are as many as 800 of them up there, and it's not like we want to hike all that way and potentially join them. Number 6. The whalefish. Not all whales are large. This mysterious little fish called the whalefish is pretty small in comparison to, say, a humpback or a beluga, reaching a length of nearly 16 inches. The whalefish was named as such due to its shape, and it's full of surprises as you're about to discover. Experts have been studying the whalefish since 1895, though it took well over a century to unlock its secrets. Over the years, other creatures were spotted in the deep-sea environment frequented by the whalefish. You'll see them approximately 3,280 feet down. Marine scientists also noticed a strange little life form called a tape-tail in 1956. Hopefully the name is self-explanatory. The tape-tail looks like it got caught up in some party streamers. Then in 1966 came the discovery of the big-nose fish. Again, the appearance says it all. Do they blow their noses on seaweed? Probably best we don't think about that. These three distinct creatures seemed a million miles apart in terms of how they looked. However, as studies continued, it transpired that they were part of the same family. Come again? Mind-boggling though it may seem, the tape tail, the big nose, and the whalefish are all connected. It's been described as a truly extraordinary example of sexual dimorphism and metamorphism. Dimorphism is when unique characteristics are displayed in each sex. All this time, the experts had been wondering why they didn't see any male whalefish, why they hadn't spotted any female big noses, and most intriguing of all, how come the tape tails were all children? The answer was right under their nose all along. Whalefish and big nose fish mate to produce tape tails, who then continue the life cycle. Can you think of any other creature like this? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 5. Yonaguni Pyramid. Any kind of interesting stone structures or evidence of civilization underwater is going to draw comparisons with the legend of Atlantis. And what do you know, we're including a second entry on something that's believed to have connections to this mystical and mysterious place. Time to head to the island of Yonaguni, part of the Okinawa Prefecture in Japan. Divers visit the area to check out the pyramid that lies largely untouched below the surface. Yes, this appears to be a pyramid with parallels made between this site and other such structures around the world. We've known about the Yonaguni Pyramid since 1986 thanks to an underwater explorer who came face to face with the extensive and fascinating location. The straight lines, geometric layout, and more suggest that humans once lived in the area. At least we presume they were human. Sounds like a cue for another video. Should there have been people involved, then they lived at the tail end of the Ice Age. The presence of what look like roads, not to mention tools and steps for access, is surely outside the realms of natural processes such as erosion. We also note the pyramid appears to feature a drainage system. Who built this if not people? Sharks? Pretty sure that isn't a red herring, so to speak. While some believe the pyramid and its surroundings could be a natural feature, it's figured a civilization was at work here before the tide came in. Maybe not Atlantis, but who knows, right? If only experts could gather the government funds and resources to check out the pyramid properly. But it doesn't look like this is going to happen anytime soon, though. Why not? International tensions. The site is close to Japan, but also isn't too far from Taiwan. These two countries aren't exactly best buds, and if you add China to the mix, you have a potentially volatile combination right there. Will the major players pool their resources and start work on examining the Yonaguni Pyramid? Don't hold your breath. Or do, depending on whether you're underwater or not. Number 4. New Jersey Deep Sea Graveyard. In the state of New Jersey, there's a great mystery going on. It's been called the New Jersey Deep Sea Graveyard. It was first discovered in 1985 when a man named Paul Hepler started to map out the bottom of the New Jersey coast and came upon something unexpected: 2 large locomotives. Upon diving down, he found that they were Planet Class 222T models, which is a very rare model of train and one of the oldest models of steam trains that were ever made in the United States. Just as odd, these trains were perfectly upright, which almost makes one think that they were placed there intentionally. But whether that's the case is unclear. There have been multiple research dives to these trains, but all the results report the same thing. It's unclear how they got there. The popular theory is that they came off of a ship. But there's 2 problems with that theory. 1, there's no serious damage on the trains that would show something like that. And 2, the trains themselves were never reported as missing or lost. Number 3. The Barreleye fish. The barreleye fish, or Macropina microstoma, made headlines in 2021 with an intriguing and mysterious fact about its vision. From the outside, it looks like it has squinty little eyes, but in fact this couldn't be further from the truth. First, let's cover the basics. The barreleye fish grows to 6 inches and lives around 2,600 feet below the surface in a place referred to as the Twilight Zone. It's called that because of the lack of sunlight. Not that the barreleye isn't aware of sunlight. Actually, it proves crucial when it comes to catching a meal. Here's where its extraordinary eyesight comes in. You see, the tubular structures inside the fish's glass-like head weren't some crazy part of its brain. Those are its eyes. And they point upwards. Behind a shield packed with fluid, they stare toward the surface. And it's there they pick up stuff to munch on, because as prey swims overhead, it creates very noticeable shadows. Things get a little freaky once the barreleye goes hunting, because the tubes can move to face forward. This fish literally has eyes in the back of its head. Number 2. Tahiti Twilight Zone. Speaking of the Twilight Zone, we return to that location for our next entry, and it takes place specifically in the warm and friendly climate of Tahiti. Reports from 2022 reveal that experts discovered something very cool down amongst the spongy and squidgy inhabitants of a fascinating underwater environment. Located up to 213 feet under the surface was a coral reef that proved a true eye-opener. What's described as many corals with a rose shape were seen, comprising one awesome deep-sea spectacle. These roses are approximately 6 feet wide and make up an epic reef believed to be 2 miles in length and 200 feet in width. To find such an incredible example in a place previously thought to be a little remote for so much coral to live and thrive is a game-changer for scientists. They have a mass of cool coral to study at a time when such environments are under threat. A golden opportunity to get up close and personal with a mysterious form of life. Number 1. EEMSLIFT HENDRIKA. No matter how big and strong the boat, you just can't get around one simple fact: the ocean always wins. The ocean is so powerful it can sink even the mightiest of vessels. A case in point was the EEMSLIFT HENDRIKA, a craft from the Netherlands. This was a relatively recent voyage that ended in disaster. We're used to hearing about seagoing tales where the crew needed to be rescued. This time, both the crew and the boat required urgent help. It all started when the ship was cruising through the North Sea, traveling from Germany to Norway. The EEMSLIFT HENDRIKA was transporting serious cargo, which reportedly included at least one other boat. Approximately 400 tons of oil and fuel were part of the deadly package. This was in 2021, just 6 years after the boat was constructed. The crew were in the middle of a nasty swell and they realized the sea could tip them over. Time being of the essence, they radioed for help. The boat was just 60 nautical miles from Norway when the drama started. There were 12 crew aboard who had to be rescued by helicopter. 4 of them weren't so lucky and had to take an impromptu swim to safety. Sounds like a truly hair-raising experience. Of course, once the people were safely away, there was the matter of what to do about the ship. It was on its own in turbulent conditions and in serious danger of hitting land. So the rescuers had to get things under control quickly, otherwise the expensive ship was going to be potentially damaged beyond repair. Not to mention the risk it posed to people on land, plus the environmental impact. They brought in not just one, but 2 tugs which guided the EEMSLIFT HENDRIKA at the bow and stern. The vessel lived to cruise another day. Thanks for watching. Are there any mysterious things found underwater you think we left off the list? Let us know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time for another amazing video right here on American Eye.